The hectic holiday. It was a chilly winter afternoon, and Mickey Mouse was just about to relax with a cup of hot cocoa after a long day of errands when he heard it again. The relentless clatter of miniature trains, the loud choo-choo sounds of the engine, and the squeaky wheels zooming around the living room floor. Morty and Ferdy, his nephews, were at it again with their sprawling model train set. Mickey leaned against the doorframe, watching them run around the track. The little cars colliding and the bridges rickety as they begged for more parts. Their excitement was palpable, but Mickey was nearing his breaking point. "Come on, Uncle Mickey. We need some new bridges for the tracks. Please," Morty called, his hands flailing as he showed Mickey his newest upgrade to the train's route. "We need more tunnel entrances too," added Ferdy, his eyes wide with expectation, "and maybe some more trees for the scenery." Mickey sighed. He had already bought them so many pieces to their collection, but no matter how much he indulged them, it was never enough. Every time he walked through the living room, he was forced to navigate the sea of plastic tracks and the sprawling mess of little figurines. And worse, the boy's enthusiasm seemed to multiply rather than wane. At that moment, a thought struck him. He had an idea, a plan, something to calm them down. "Listen," Mickey snapped, his patience running thin. "I've bought you a lot of new parts already, and I can't stand tripping over this railway every time I cross the room. You two are going to take that train set upstairs to your room, where it won't get in the way." Morty moaned, crossing his arms and sticking out his lower lip. "Yeah, what's the big deal? We'll just put it somewhere else," whined Ferdy, giving Mickey an exaggerated pout. "No, no more. From now on, you're going to have a quiet hobby, like reading books. I want you to go down to the library and pick out something good to read, something that'll help you learn a thing or two," Mickey declared, pointing toward the door. Morty rolled his eyes, and Ferdy huffed loudly. Neither of them seemed thrilled about the idea, but the mischievous duo had little choice in the matter, so they slumped out the door, their feet dragging along the snowy ground as they made their way to the library. "I don't want to read," grumbled Morty, kicking a pile of snow along the sidewalk. "Neither do I," Ferdy muttered, casting a glance back toward their model train set, clearly not interested in Mickey's suggestion. "Why would we want to read when we could be building cool stuff?" The walk to the library was slow, but eventually they returned with a large stack of heavy books in their arms. Mickey looked up from the couch and smiled, glad to see that his nephews had taken his advice seriously. Maybe this would finally teach them the value of quiet, focused learning. As they trudged upstairs, Mickey couldn't help but feel a small sense of pride. At least they're finally doing something educational, he thought. Maybe now they'll get some peace and quiet and stop pestering me for more toys. He gave them some time, figuring they were probably getting settled in. After a while, Mickey decided to check in on them. He tiptoed upstairs, careful not to disturb the quiet. The room was eerily still when he approached the door, so he gently pushed it open, expecting to find his nephews buried in encyclopedias, learning about the world around them. But what he saw made him freeze. Morty and Ferdy were not reading the books, they weren't studying. Instead, they had arranged the entire pile of encyclopedias into a series of makeshift bridges, spanning the gaps in their railway track. The books were piled high, one on top of the other, creating massive archways over the train's path. The trains whizzed by, zooming under the heavy stacks of books with all the sounds of a proper high-speed adventure. Morty was standing with his hands on his hips, his face glowing with excitement. "Switch on," Morty yelled, his voice filled with glee. Ferdy, who had been eagerly waiting by the button, grinned. He shouted as he pressed it, sending the trains into motion. The sound of the engines, the screeching wheels, and the high-pitched choo-choo filled the room. Mickey's mouth hung open as he stood there in disbelief. The boys weren't reading. They had turned their newly acquired encyclopedias into a set of towering bridges, completely ignoring the purpose Mickey had intended for the books. Instead of learning, they were simply using the books for more of their railroad fantasies. Mickey let out a long, dramatic groan and quickly shut the door. "Oh no, not again," he muttered to himself. "I just can't win with those two rascals." Back downstairs, Mickey sat on the couch with a long sigh, wondering if his nephews would ever take a break from their relentless schemes. But somehow, he couldn't stay upset for long. Even if they never actually read the books, at least they had finally stopped asking for more train parts, at least for the moment. The boys were happy, and for now, that was enough.